D2 has officially pulled the trigger and is going to an age-based model. It's supposed to mirror Division One, basically 5 years of eligibility. Now, what does this mean for NAIA? Well, we'll talk about that. By the way, the number of NAIA football teams has officially reached 98 now for 2027. We talk about that. And you know what? I may or may not use this platform tonight to declare my eligibility for the WNBA draft. All that and more coming up. No, just kidding. We are not talking about the WNBA tonight. Some of that and more coming up tonight on College Football This Week. Good evening. I'm Joey McWilliams along with Doug Gann, and we have a special guest tonight. I know you're going to appreciate this. Kobe Manzo coming over and joining us tonight from Division One Rejects. Kobe, man, it's great to have you back on the channel.
You're the man. I'm going to, they might have to, they're still meeting to determine what a woman is in that league that you were referencing. But there's a lot of really good things going on in small school football, and it's things like that remind me that, we don't have it so bad. There's a lot of really good things at these levels of football, man. I'm excited to talk about those and the eligibility concerns. And I'll tell you what, the DMs have been popping with guys with all kinds of questions, and every time I try and give them a little bit of an idea, and I always fall back on, man, I am not the expert, right? I know as much as you do, right?
But you do have a little bit of experience. So let's segue from that. Let's segue into Division One Rejects. What is it exactly? And, how did you get into doing this? Division One Rejects, tell us about it.
Yeah, man. Well, I was, in my dorm at Northern Michigan University where I played up in Marquette in the Upper Peninsula, and I was a huge Pat McAfee fan. And when I graduated high school, my parents bought me my first microphone and little setup, and I actually use a lot of that same equipment today, almost 6 years later, which is awesome. But it was either going to be D2 Dorm Talk or D1 Rejects. I knew I wanted to talk about more than just D2, and I knew I was going to be out of the dorm room eventually. So started off with some really, really bad, terrible interviews and turned into a lot more fun, energetic, and better content over the years. But it's been a blast. Obviously we'll talk about the Small School Saturday series that we're traveling around the country trying to catch as many games as possible, bring that college game day level of excitement to these campuses. We got Small School HQ to pair with that as an entree and a main course, if you will. I'm trying to make that a one-stop shop in terms of the app for small school football, info, scores, highlights, all that. So I think really to me, I just, when I realized that by the way, it's infinitely better now than when I was in school, which I'm 2-3 years removed. But when you looked at how many people were talking about D2 football back in 2020, man, very different scene than just 6 years later. Very thankful for that and happy to be just a part of it.
Absolutely. And by the way, shout out to Charles and Leo already in the chat tonight. And hey, if you're watching us live, go ahead and let us know from where you're watching us and what NAI football team you're going to be cheering for. We're going to talk a lot more NAI football tonight. Kobe, let me ask you about this. Let's continue on with that. You alluded to Small School Saturday. Now in 2018, I started going on the road a little more regionally to where I am. Of course, I'm based in Oklahoma, and my first road trip was in Weatherford. We had Midwest Sports Saturday, still do Midwest Sports Saturday, by the way, and I kind of joked about it being my low-budget game day. Well, you know what? You have a game day set up. You have a little more budget than I do, and you're taking it a little bit farther than I have. So what exactly is Small School Saturday? And you have a huge opening weekend coming up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll be heading out to Butte, America, as they call it. Montana Tech hosting Ottawa, Arizona. We got that Thursday night game. Friday, me and the gang are driving, I believe it's 11 hours south to Golden, Colorado. And then we'll have a Saturday, a quick turnaround. We'll be at Western Oregon at Colorado Mines in beautiful Golden, Colorado. And when I tell you these are two of the most scenic backdrops we have been able to get in front of, that I mean that, right? There's been a lot more logistics that have gone to this one because the guys are catching some flights to get out there. That, of course, means we got a brand new desk that we're going to debut for week 0 here for Small School Saturday. You talk about the production and the budget. The budget is whatever I end up putting into it at this point, right? It's not. I'm very transparent with anyone that asks. Like D1 Rejects is a fantastic passion project and business, and I think I obviously believe in the mission, or else I wouldn't have started it. We're in the red, right? But we're not a business that is making a whole lot of money. We're not printing it over here. Hopefully that changes long term, but we're going to continue to do this as long as possible. Small School Saturday is our way of bringing that same level of excitement to these campuses as the college game day guys, ESPN, and whether it's Corso or McAfee or Herb Street or all these guys that do this. I've grown up watching those guys, and that's my goal one day, is to be on there. I don't want to be doing Small School Saturday, when I'm 50 years old. That would be great if somehow that turned out to happen. Man, I want to be hosting the big time, right? I want to get there. And so I figured, what better way to do that than to make my own show and give back to the levels of football that made me the person I am. And I have been incredibly grateful for how many people have allowed us just to come on their campus and tell their stories so far.
For all of us mid-50s folks out there, we just remember us when you get out there too.
Hey, if somehow it works out, man, you catch me, decades down the road, and I'm still wearing this crest on the chest, like something has gone incredibly right or incredibly wrong. Who knows? Like, it's gonna be one or the other. I don't know.
All right, so let me dig into the D1 rejects, because I cover mainly NAIA sports is what we do. But you guys have the D2 that you cover, the D3, of course, and anything that's small school is what you're doing. What's the similarity or the idea that's different? Because people will always ask, well, is NAIA D2 level comparative? Is this summarize that?
It's closer to D2, right? I mean, you talk about athletic scholarships and whether that's 36 or 24 equivalencies of the school's tuition. And of course, we all know that every scholarship Division II or every scholarship NAIA institution is not always going to have that blanket number, right? There are levels within levels of how these teams are funded and prepared, but NAIA is definitely closer to a Division II counterpart. Now, with that being said, there's a ton of really good Division III teams that would mop the floor with some NAIA folks that I've seen, but that's every level, right? I know D2 teams that can go into a strong FCS opponent and take them to, put them out like Michael Orr, take them to the bus. But the NAIA is such an interesting scene when it comes to the NCAA counterparts, and that sometimes it really does feel like the Wild Wild West, right? There are at times the NAIA is to be very honest, the toughest to find information about, a collective kind of information. There are obviously some great voices that cover it from the football standpoint, but from a school standpoint, sometimes we find it is kind of the Wild West. And you also talk about now as we move into 2026, going into 2027, all of these recent changes, the age eligibility, that 5-year model being the most recent example of such, the NAIA has a chance to either be reactive and try to get with the times, which there certainly would be a ton of advantages to doing so and trying to have blanket legislation, or maybe be proactive and continually maybe branch off and try and actually very physically set themselves apart from the NCAA governing body institutions. And so I really think the NAIA for so long has kind of been the NCAA a couple of years later, but now who knows if that's going to be the case. I think there's definitely a strong, from the coaches that I've seen and talked to, there's a strong want for that eligibility model to make their way over, to give them that same opportunity. Because think about a coach, man, you lose a player after 4 years, and they're going to go off to grad school somewhere else. That's a tough thing. So I think the NAIA, I think, has definitely followed in the footsteps of the NCAA in my eyes. In my lifetime, obviously, I haven't been around forever. I'm only 25, but they have a chance to really set themselves apart here coming soon.
Look, I love it. All right, so let's talk about your small school Saturday too, because that's just a lot of fun. We'll go to a couple of different places in addition to what we're doing, and everybody can talk about that memory that was such a great memory that they had. I don't want to do that. Tell me about that production disaster that you've had, that you just got pulling your hair out, because we've all had those.
Absolutely.
I mean, how much time do you got here, Doug? So we're at the Stag Bowl, the D3 National Championship last year. We're gracious enough to be invited out. Pat Coleman, who runs D3Football.com, him and his crew helped us fund that trip and get us out there and made the connections with the NCAA folks. We get this thing sorted with it's an ESPN broadcast, so we're working with them to coordinate our times. We got a hard out. Like, we have to be off the air by this time, on the air. We can only show this for all these type of information details. We knock all that out. We show up on site. We do not have internet for said broadcast until 5 minutes before hitting go live, because somebody at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, I don't know who. If I did, I would out them right here. Somebody didn't activate the internet port, and so we're sitting here with no internet connection, freezing our behinds off behind this desk, coldest game we've ever done. And here we are, 5 minutes to showtime, and we have no internet. And I was, I'm a pretty, as they say, like low cortisol, like I'm a pretty go with the flow, stress-free guy. I was freaking out. That was one. That was definitely one.
Internet and power are our two biggest concerns. We carry so much of it with us wherever we go. But that's a good story, Toby.
See, Kobe, here's the deal on that. And you've already told us you're 25. Okay, I'm on the record as being 55. We'll just say Doug's older. And anyway, I look back in 26 years now of broadcasting. I'm thinking of phone lines.
Yeah.
But see, you talk about internet. That's the difference right there is in between the two of us in some of those stories where you have the phone line disasters and being able to get those there. But it's internet now too. Hey, shout out to Matt watching tonight. Randy watching from his recliner tonight. And glad that Leo has made it on the road. He's back home. Tool Envy. Doug can feel you, Kobe. He can feel you with those disasters. He gets that
man.
as
And
well.
that's the coolest thing now. You talk about the difference there. Like, the reason it's not a coincidence we have so many more voices talking about college football, small college football, and that specifically in 2026, the barrier of entry has been almost removed, right?
Correct.
Anyone with one of these can be a content creator when it comes to small college football or anything else, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And so there will never be enough voices talking about small school football, but there's a hell of a lot more than there were just a few years ago, and that's the best part about it is I think it gives access to so many more people to create content and to share their perspectives.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay, now let's go back to another thing that you talked about, and if we can, I'm trying to make these segues as smooth as possible. Kobe, you give me a lot to work with,
All right.
so I want to go back because you did mention a little bit earlier. You have the app now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I remember that being a statement not that long ago. Well, there's an app for that. You can really say that. There's an app for that. Tell us about the app.
Yeah, never thought I'd be making one, and then was talking with a buddy, and I feel like every year we've kind of had that next step. Last year it was Small School Saturday. The year before that it was like, we made our first official website and did some other cool things. The steps have gotten larger and larger over the course of the last couple of years. This summer it was like, how do we take a next step? How do we really head and shoulders separate ourselves? But not really that, more so how do we bring everyone together? I definitely see the app as more of a unifier than it is a differentiating factor, because my goal, and we're going to work on this, and there's still so many updates and things going on, but my two goals with the app, one is to create a centralized hub of, if you will, of information, scores, updates, content for all things small school football, D2, D3, NAI, but two, to get all these creators, guys like you, guys like Jason Danley, guys like NAI, F-Ball and Corey over there, guys like D2 and D3football.com, all these other guys that create great content. How do we get them under one umbrella, right? Where you've got an app where somebody can come in who maybe is familiar with small school football, maybe has never heard of 90% of these teams, and make a fan out of them. So to me, that is what this app is about. So Small School HQ, it's available on the App Store, and it's also on Google Play for your Android users there. This is something that has been a passion project of mine over the summer. I did pay a developer to come in and help me make this, and it has cost quite a bit of money. I would do it all over again. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely.
The reception has been fantastic. We're at right about 1,800 active users right now inside the app, which is an exciting thing, trying to get that number up as we get going into the season.
Okay, I've got the app. Just saying.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not just gonna promote it and then not even try it. I have the app too, so I'll be working with it a little bit more as the season goes on.
And that's the best thing is we've had players and coaches reach out like, hey man, our schedule is something didn't show up right on the schedule, or hey, can you add this or can you add that? And we've been update. And I just have a list. I got a rolling list in Google Doc. Every DM, every message, it becomes part of this app, and I think that's really sweet that these guys get to make the app with us, right? Like their feedback literally goes into Google Doc, that gets shared with the developer, that gets put into app, and next update.
All right, hey, Doug, before you go any farther, let's run to the chat here really quickly. Yes, Leo, the video broadcast does require internet. And by the way, Leo, I know you're old school like I am. I was thinking of some of the disaster stories. And if you've been in video, if you've been in sports broadcasting for 26 years, there are disaster stories that are out there. And to Charles, this one I think is addressed to you, Kobe. Do you have any backdrops for Joey? By the way, I like Kobe's backdrop. Now he's in back. He's not in his normal backdrop right now.
This is
to
not.
Let you know.
Yeah.
He does pay the light bill when he does his show.
We did see.
And mine's going to be what I have in mind, Kobe. I'm not stealing this from you, but what I have in mind is going to be very similar to yours.
Okay.
Just to let Charles know.
So,
but this
is Home Depot, man. Home Depot. It's a big, just a big sheet that I've got zip tied to my window, and it looks a hell of a lot nicer on our D1R episodes. But I got all my cameras and stuff torn down. So
yeah. And I like I said though, he did pay the light bill. He normally
Yes.
has lighting in the studio there, but that's all right. Okay. And Charles saying great helmets. Got some great
Appreciate
helmets
that.
going on there.
Shout out my guy, Clint Brightman, hooked it up. Working with Vices, saying hello, focus. Yes.
There you go.
Sweet.
I love
lids
that.
out. So this is
That is sweet.
Vices here in the Shut F7 behind me. So those are fantastic additions.
Did you wear a shut when you played?
I wore an F7, for the most part, and then when I got to Northern, it was Speed Flex.
Cool. All right. Okay. Hey, Dave's in the chat tonight too. Shout out to Dave. Dave, we were already talking. I've got the level up to 98% now on the trip to Sioux City. So I know it's going to hit 100.
Is that in relation to Drew? It's got to be, right?
Absolutely. Dave is the father of one Drew Selleck.
That's one I'm excited about this fall. So I'm excited to see that squad in action.
Yeah. Well, Doug for sure. I'm going to say but Doug, I'm just. Man, I don't want to jinx anything. It's like when I say, "Hey, I'm going to have somebody on the program," and they opt out like 15 minutes before the show starts. So I'm just trying to be cautious.
I don't post any. I used to post graphics. I guess who's coming on the show tomorrow? There's a reason I don't do that anymore.
I was so sketchy about putting Kobe Mansell in my graphic this week, midway through the week, and I was like, "No, I'm going to do it because I know he's going to be there. I know he's not going to opt out." But no, that happens. Okay, well, all right. Before we get, and I know we've got you for a little bit here. We don't want to keep you all night. But I did want to ask a couple of things. August is here. Season's almost here. I mean, NAI, D3, D2, you name it. There's a lot of Thursday night games. There is a week 0 this year. True week 0 this year. Doesn't happen every year, but this year it does. And so week 0, that Thursday night, there are, I don't know, Doug, I think he had like 14 week 0 NAI games. Before we get to the NAI portion of it, is there anything that stands out to you from the summer? Because I know you've been covering stuff all year long. College football this week goes, pretty much 12 months, 365. We are an all year long program promoting college football. What stood out to you from the summer?
That's a good question, man. I think it was the lack of structure, lack of stability. That to me has stood out, right? We talk about all the changes with the eligibility concerns and things that going back and forth. And this goes back all the way to, I talk with some of my good friends that were at Northwood University and they graduated. I think Cole Simpson is a great example, a stud linebacker for them. He was under the impression that when he graduated, because of this new rule being adopted for the Division I scene and those counterparts, that he would get an additional year. So you have this surge of guys entering the transfer portal. And then that turns into, well, maybe they don't have this eligibility. Now everything that's happened and transpired in the last couple of weeks. And now you've got, I'm hearing things about, of course, D3 has not opted into this model. So I'm hearing things about some potential past D3 All-Americans from last year making the jump up to Division I for a couple schools that are already in camp. So to me, what stood out about the summer, man, is just the lack of stability, the lack of structure, and the lack of continuity, we'll say, across the levels. Coaches, players, organizations, support staff, athletic administration, they have all shown the ability to be flexible, and the ones that have not are going to struggle. Like, they're going to pay the price for that inability to do that. So the people that believe there is truly an off season, let me tell you, whether it was working at Northern Michigan or now working with the Badgers at Wisconsin, it does not exist. There's something going on every single day. But to me, what stood out is the change and people having to adapt to that. And I think the student athlete has taken the brunt of that, which is unfortunate.
True. Doug?
Yeah, no, I love that fresh take on it too. It's something that everybody wants to talk about, and if there was a little bit more of that transparency and structure on there, it'd make life a lot easier. But how these kids in high school, they just don't know what's going on. It's like, hey, we want you, but now wait a minute, somebody else may be coming back. It's going to be a cluster there for a little while.
Well, yeah, what that changes, from the high school perspective is these kids that love to post this idea of like, hey, here's my top whatever, or I've received interest from all these different schools. We're going to see a lot less of that. What we're going to see for the kids who are smart and go about this recruiting process in the right way is, man, when you are wanted and you are offered, the first thing you should ask, is this a committable offer? What exactly are you offering me? If this is a school that has shown genuine interest in you, is not piggybacking off of some other scholarship offer, it's a committable offer, and it's somewhere you could actually see yourself playing, you're going to see kids jump on these. I think that's what's going to change. You're not going to see these long, drawn-out recruiting processes. If anything, it's moving up the calendar on these high school prospects. And for those who go about it the right way, they're going to be making their decision earlier on. They're not going to have the luxury of fielding 30-plus offers and kind of holding them close to the vest and playing possum with some of these programs. They're going to move on like that. And so I think what happens now for the high school kid, that whole process is accelerated if you're doing it the right way and you're finding your right dance partner, if you will.
Got it. Yeah.
All right. Matt, by the way, I'm going back to your comment here in a little bit, but I wanted to move on. Leo, really quickly, remembers the phone lines from the late 70s. Well,
Right.
Leo.
I wasn't even a thought.
Doug and I are 70s models too, so
Yep.
that is all right. And of course, Charles is remembering the HTTM on that one. Leo, okay, now this is interesting. I like this. Doug, it may just become a meetup. I follow a couple of guys I enjoy watching on YouTube. Not sports in particular. I mean, I've got a steady diet of sports on YouTube. A couple of guys and some other things. I've gone down to meetups to meet people that I follow on YouTube and in other areas. Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet's gone with me. We may officially have to have a meetup. I mean, we could be talking about something now because Dave is saying, hey, Leo's got the invite to the tailgate too. By the way, it's a maroon carpet. I didn't forget this week, Dave, a maroon carpet there in Sioux City. It's not a red carpet. It's a maroon carpet. And Kobe, how about this one? You got another app downloaded.
Shout out. Thank you very much.
You do know that trips like that, the one that we're going to in Sioux City, they're not official until you have a T-shirt that marks it, commemorates it. So in that case, how about that?
Goodness.
Huh?
Oh my goodness!
That? Where's my guys at? Where's my guys
Doug
at?
came prepared tonight. I was so unprepared for that, Doug.
Look, I know you were. That's why I didn't talk about it in our pre-talk that we have.
That's wow. See, I tried
He
to throw
was hiding
Doug.
it too. He was up here.
He was. He's giving me this all night.
I have never leaned forward. Now I can sit back. Now that the cat's out of the bag, we can sit up and we can live it. We're going on the road. Now look, let me get. How about that?
That is awesome.
Anyway,
Kobe, I try to throw Doug off his game with the intro every week because I don't ever tell him what's going to be said. So he turned the table on me with that one. That's good. I like it.
That's right.
I like it. Hey, Logan Thompson, if you're still watching, I see that like on Facebook. So I appreciate you watching. Good friend of mine, Logan Thompson, watching that. Okay, now that we're past the summer, now we're in August. Kobe, NAI team that stands out to you? I know Benedictine, Morningside. We've already talked about a couple of those. You're going to be up there in Butte, seeing the diggers, those diggers from Butte. So anyone stand out to you?
I mean, Montana Tech is at the top of my list, right? You bring back your top weapon outside. That offensive backfield just feels like it reloads. That defense has some big pieces coming back. Coach Sampson and company have done some great things up there. I'm just excited to see it in person, right? That's the thing that stands out for me. We're doing the Ore Digger tour, right? We're going back to back with those Tech guys up there, which is awesome. But a school that I had the chance to visit when I was coming out of high school, you got to talk about Indiana Wesleyan. I think this is a year for the Wildcats that they're going to be making a legitimate run at this thing. And I've been having some great conversations with Arj. We had him on the show. Their quarterback down there. You're bringing back, 3 linemen that arguably, and watching Danley's show earlier on, his NAI 99, he's got 3 Wildcats from that offensive line unit on his kind of all-American type of team. You give that guy time and you give him some space and you combine that with a system that I think is kind of the Morningside-esque, if I understand correctly, with the coaching staff and what they've brought over there. That's going to be a very quarterback-friendly system. He's got weapons all over the place, and you pair that with an Indiana Wesleyan team that is primed to go make a legitimate deep run. Those facilities, since they started that program, the investment into that program has been first class, and that Indiana Wesleyan team, to me, feels like one that is going to be head and shoulders above some of the rest in the region. Now, they still have some roadblocks to get through, right, in the MSFA, but I think that's a team that I would say is primed definitely for a deep run in 26.
Yeah, I think Coach Rohde's the real deal. I really, really do. I like him. I like what he's doing. They have just hit a wall when it comes to a playoff run, and you just get to a certain point, and we see it year after year in so many sports. I mean, I look back at some of the teams that we were watching. Even if you want to, I could go back. Sorry, I hate to switch sports here, but I'll go back to the Bulls in the '90s. They had to get past the Pistons. I mean, Jordan's the best player, but he still had to get past the Pistons. And there are times, if you want to get that championship, you have to get to a certain point, get to the next point, and finally make your way on up there. So,
I'm a Detroit guy, man. Grew up about 30, 40 miles north of there. That's all my dad would talk about. So,
hey, I live in Durant, Oklahoma. Trust me. Let me tell you, there are people. When people think about Durant sports, there's one name. Southeastern Oklahoma State University. There's one name that comes to mind. I'll bet you know what it is.
Correct.
It is Dennis Rodman in a heartbeat. By the way, he got rings with both those teams.
Yeah.
Pistons and Bulls. So, they had to get past it. All right, going to the chat really quickly. You know what? We're going to have to talk about the Comets and the Chargers, Doug, and we'll get back to that in a moment.
Yes, I can only wear one shirt at a time. So, yeah. Because, look, changing shirts was I worked it out, but it wasn't a lovely sight. So, no, we're sticking with just the one.
Shirtless Doug. Does YouTube even allow that?
Yes. It's not FCC regulated.
Are you going to go full Pat McAfee on us on the show?
No, I'm not. Not the one in Miami with the swimming pool. I'm certainly not.
Oh my goodness, no. All right.
But,
I will say we've got a trip. We've got a small school Saturday trip. Hasn't been publicly announced, so I won't say who exactly it is in September. But let's just say this is a team that when they win, they make a tradition out of jumping into a body of water, and we might be pulling something like that on the show live. So
nice.
We have some very fun picks and things lined up. I will be with a live mascot over the course of week 0 making a pick. So we've got some fun things lined up, and we're trying to up the ante in terms of the showmanship for sure.
Nice. Absolutely. Well, hey, let us know when the time comes. We'll give it a shout out. We will help you promote what you have going on. Robert has made it to the show tonight. Glad that you made it, Robert. I appreciate that. And, of course, listen, here's what Dave's going to do. Dave is going to go ahead and trade ribs for a shirt.
The deal's already been made. Yes,
yeah, the deal's already been made. Okay, that's all right. Okay.
Just to answer that, we make these shirts in home. That's one of the other things that I do. So Mr. 2 and 3 jobs, like Joey said he has, we still do a lot of things here as well. So, no, we make them, and I'll bring a stack of them up there with me for sure.
That's awesome.
All right. So, well, you just talked about that, the NAI teams that stand out to you. I want to wrap up our time, Kobe, because I know that you're a busy person, and you have to go back to all those DMs and all those things that people have been getting you to make sure it's been done. You have to go back and pay the light bill, I guess, at some point, too. It's a Sunday night.
Yeah.
You have to wait till tomorrow morning. Seriously, in case you haven't explained it well enough, Kobe he's making a trial run right now, so getting everything ready to go. So he's in Studio B-ish. I'm always in Studio B. Charles, just so you know, there will be a Studio A someday. I'm in Studio B right now. Kobe's giving it the Studio B look because, you have to do this. You have to take everything down, put it all back together, take it down again. If you've never done a broadcast, man, the checklist has a checklist.
I was playing salary cap gymnastics. It felt like, like an NFL GM, because I've got these 3 massive bags outside, these crates, if you will. And under the media policy on the airline I'm flying, it's got to be under 70 pounds. And so I'm standing on the scale and I'm holding each one. And then I'm like, okay, this is 93 pounds. So we got to do some reallocating here and dish some things around. So I've got it to a point where everything fits. Now I have nowhere to put my own clothes and other things, so that's going to be another problem. I might do additional bag somewhere on my person, but we'll get it sorted. We'll get it figured out. It's going to be a sweet show. We got the gimbal cam. I don't think it's in here. We'll have a floating camera on the broadcast that'll be going like to the fans and to the stadium and those kind of things. We're going to try and incorporate a drone, some scenic aerial views during the show live. So up in the ante in 26 for sure.
I absolutely love it. We just have a tall guy with a gimbal that counts as our drone when I go somewhere. So,
you know what? Last year, Doug, we're still going to have it this year. It's a C-stand that goes all the way up, and it's got a little webcam on it that I can control. And
that's right. Look, this is PTZ. Folks don't realize if you can survive this and do this, man, you got to get creative. You got to learn to fix a lot of stuff, and you just have to find. I wish I knew everything I knew 10 years ago or so. When technology changed, I was able to do it, that I didn't waste the money on things that you don't really need. You just find a way and you get it.
I hear you.
All right, Kobe, let me ask you, this is your shameless self-promotion. Well, we've been talking about you all night long, my goodness. But where do the folks find you? What platforms? And where do they look for Division I rejects?
Yeah, well, Small School Saturday, first and foremost, that's going to be on our YouTube channel. We got a live stream on X. We'll be live streaming on Facebook this fall as well. And I can't break the news just yet, but we've got a licensing deal that'll be breaking this coming week. We will be on another big time platform and breaking in there. So definitely look out for that on socials. Division I Rejects on Instagram, D1_Rejects on Twitter, and find us anywhere else. Small School HQ, get on the app. We got a lot of things going on. Very exciting time for the brand, and we've got 7 shows booked for this fall with a potential opportunity at a big time venue late in November. We're still finalizing. So.
And they may just see you wandering around Madison.
They might see that too. Yeah, I'll have my stuff on. You can usually find me in the basement of Camp Randall. Otherwise, I'm just biking and walking around because I get bored of sitting in an office. So
nice name drop there too. I like that.
That's right. That was easily worked in. Yeah.
Okay, now of everything we just said, you just dropped a D1 name. So come on, that's anyway.
Yeah,
all right,
that's true. You know what? I tell you this too, and I've been telling this to people, talking about the job. I think some people thought it was sacrilegious for me to take a position, at the Division I level. And as fun and as awesome as it has been, I've been here for about 3-4 months now, working with Badger Sports Properties here. It has only reaffirmed my love for the small school football and the small school guys, because I'm dealing in the NIL video landscape, sponsorship video. Wow. I am not creating content that does not have a partner throwing tens of thousands of dollars behind it to these athletes. And you know what? For the athletes, yes, they absolutely deserve that. I'm not going to sit here and say that, whatever. But what I will tell you is I don't feel sorry for any athletes having to show up for a shoot and show up and talk on camera or show up and do a photo shoot or whatever. So to me, it has only reaffirmed my love for the way that the small school, D2, D3, NAI, the way that those guys operate, go about their business, still give that same level of preparation and preparedness and go out and perform on Saturdays and Thursdays sometimes, right? To me, it's only reaffirmed that, and I think it's really unique to have that balance and to be able to live in both worlds.
I just hope the business of the business doesn't kill it all. That's
right.
That's the one thing.
That's the biggest concern. And I'm telling you, man, I see it on a day-to-day, and it's like every single day you show up to the office and you're like, is this the day some other crazy news breaks and we have to change our whole operation? Right?
That's right.
It's such a unique thing.
Yeah. Well, Kobe, we appreciate what you're doing, and it's fantastic to have you back on Midwest Sports Net, and of course on 446 Sports tonight on college football this week. And God bless you, man. Safe trip to Butte. I hope everything goes well for you all up there. And then, of course, over to Golden and throughout the season. And we'd love to have you back on the show sometime, talk some more college football. But in the meantime, Division I Rejects, Kobe Manso, and all the gang, God bless you all. Thanks for being on. Have a great Sunday night, man. We'll let you go.
Before you get out.
As soon as Doug lets you go.
As soon as I let you go, yeah. Will we see you in Crowley in mid-December?
I don't know about that. We did the D3 National Championship game last year. I think we've kind of decided that we're not going to be going back to do the D3 Natty this year, but that's not 100%. We would definitely like to make it down to Texas for a championship, right? Whether that's NAI, whether that's Division II, I think that is definitely on our horizons.
McKinney is great.
D3 Natty, even a little different, but I don't want to say yes, but I'd say there's a strong chance.
There you go. Well, then I'll let you go for the night too. So.
Okay. Hey, listen, McKinney's fantastic too. I'm not going to throw any shade there. I love going there, and it's a great site. I've watched a national championship or two there, and man, it's a fantastic place too. But Crowley's pretty cool too.
So, yeah. That's awesome. I know my guy Matt Schwarzler was down there last year. Yep. He had a lot of really good things to say about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. All right, Kobe. Now, Doug, can I let him go?
Yes. It's all there. Okay. I've got the app downloaded, so we're good.
There we go. Sir. All right, one more tonight. God bless you, man. Have a good night, Kobe.
Appreciate you guys so much. Keep killing it. And I'm on here anytime you want me. And next time we can talk less about me and more about football and what's going on. But I appreciate both of you very much.
There you go. Thanks, Kobe.
Thank you, man. We'll see you. All right, Kobe gets to go now, and it's back to what we need to do. We need to go through some of the comments too, really quickly. So let's get to the chat tonight. Robert is in the house. We appreciate Robert being here tonight. And well, you know what? Doug is making deals over here in the chat. While I wasn't paying attention.
The brisket so far. They know the way to my heart.
That's absolutely. Let's throw that one up there really quickly. Yeah, Robert's going to make some brisket. He'll have to do that. I have to send it to you over there. Okay. Yes. Charles, man, we got to get. Hey, Bet to Barn comes in. We're going. mind. Doug won't be able to make every Thursday, by the way, but
Correct.
he'll have a presence here, so we'll do that. Extra large for Leo.
But then it got corrected a little lower.
But then it got corrected.
That's right.
Double X for Leo. Okay, that's all right. So there we go. Okay, who do we have here? No virtual backdrops. I don't have a virtual backdrop. I think I could put one on here, but I think it looks better with a green screen. It doesn't look as good when I just have
gets
like
really
nothing behind
pixely.
me.
And,
So
yeah,
I don't like that as much. I'd rather not do that. So I think this is very neutral though. Charles,
it is.
I mean, if nothing else, it's very neutral. So I don't know. We'll go from there. All right. Hey, listen, let's get into a couple things really quickly that we said we would talk about tonight. Not the WNBA. We're moving on past that. 18 days until weeks. I know. Man. See, I'm starting to turn red right now, Doug. I can't do that. I can't do that.
That's right.
That was, by the way, the red was at the city pool today, the hours with the grandkids, and I wouldn't take it back. My oldest grandchild turned 9 yesterday. So, hey, props. I'm really excited about that. Okay, 18 days until week 0 Thursday night. I have 48 games now on week 0. There's a game that got dropped off. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's go to the news. Division II passes the age-based eligibility. Basically, guys, this is 5 seasons in 5 years. So keep that in mind. And let me see if I can go here and bring this one up. Is this the right one? Is it going to come up? There it is. This is from the NCAA, NCAA.org. Excuse me. Those are two different websites. This is where the news is. And what this is, Doug, D2 said, you know what? We're going to do what D1 did. They made the adjustment. They had an emergency meeting, and they said, we're going to do it almost. We're going to do just about everything the same, except that Judge Charlotte's ruling doesn't apply to Division II, and neither does the implementation. They're saying, no, if you used your eligibility up in 2026, you've used it up. So D2, sorry about you, but that's the way it is. But they are going to move to the 5 seasons of eligibility over a 5-year stretch. Now, again, let me say something about this, and then, Doug, we'll go to it and let you speak about this. There's no more redshirting at this point.
Right.
Okay? And the medical redshirting, also off the books. You get 5 years. So we're not getting these stories about, some 55-year-old, like, say, me, or to coming back, and I haven't used all of my eligibility, or Cam Rising from Utah when he was playing for the Utah Utes. I mean, the guy was like 30-some-odd when he finished because of all the medical red shirts and hardships and eligibility and this and that, and COVID that came in. So you get 5 years. That's it. So if you're hurt for 2 of those years, Doug, sorry about you. You play your other 3 years.
Yeah, and you don't get the older guys that are coming back either. Everybody remembers Chris Winkie. I mean, and the guys that went off and played some minor league baseball and come back over, it's not going to work. So it's good, and I really like it because it makes a little bit of the consistency that's out there, and you don't have to wonder. And as a kid, he's ineligible because of this, or the red shirt's gone, or he didn't play because of this. Now you got some guys that are able to go out there and get on these special teams units and make a difference. And that's the way that they make the bus, because they're not worrying about, are they going to lose their red shirt, or I don't want to make the travel squad because I'll lose a year of eligibility. Now these kids can go out there and earn their dadgum way out onto the field and keep it that way. So I love it.
Now, what this also means is, and I saw NAI Hoops Report putting this on social media. It was a thought that I had, but props to NAI Hoops Report because he actually got it out there. And the question then comes, okay, D1's done it, D2's done it. Does this put pressure on the NAIA now to do something? And I will go to my next graphic. This is a letter from the president of the NAIA, from Jim Carr. And he says a number of things on here. Doug, let me see if I can pull this up to where I can actually read it. We've already said tonight, by the way, in the pre-show, folks, that I'm going to go ahead and throw on the granddaddy glasses. The chlorine. I'm going to blame the chlorine, Doug. It was the chlorine in the pool. NAI members. Okay, this came out this week. NAI members, from Jim Carr, the NAI president. He says a lot of things in this graphic, and if you want to read it there, you can, enlarge the screen there. He's saying, look, there's significant change in potentially allowing a fifth season. This is in paragraph 2 of competition, and the impact on NAI members in recruiting, retention, roster management, and financial aid. The task force believes the council president should consider expediting our normal legislative process. So what that means, folks, is that it was going to go before the convention in April of 2027. They're saying now we may bring it up just a little bit sooner. He goes on to add, in the coming week, this is paragraph 3, the task force and national office staff will share materials to educate everyone on the various options the task force is bringing forward. Okay? Now, I think this is important, Doug, so let's bring the windows back up here for just a moment. Doug? There are options. And Kobe alluded to this when he was talking about this too. The NAI does not have to mirror what the NCAA does.
Correct.
Now, again, Division II mirrored what the NCAA is doing, or Division I is doing, with the exception of, the retroactive and bringing back the 26 folks who may have lost that year of eligibility. I will also say again, for the record, Judge Charlotte said this, and the NCAA agreed with it. You don't get to get back into the transfer portal if the window was already closed, which means if you were playing football and you get that fifth year of eligibility, D1 players, you'd have to go back to your same school that you were playing at. You just get
Correct.
a fifth year of eligibility. So, deep breath. Here I go again, Doug. NAI could take a different route. The task force is giving them options, and Dr. Carr is doing exactly the right thing, I believe, in saying, look, we can speed up the process. We may feel, I'm not going to say you may feel a little pressure. I think they feel a little pressure. That's editorial on my part. I think there's pressure there. However, he's not getting in a hurry, and he's also saying there are options. We don't have to do it exactly the same way. Doug?
And again, Kobe echoed that sentiment as well. Take your time, do it correctly, and don't follow along. Here's your chance to really separate yourself and set a bar that brings everything. Because D2, emergency meeting, rushed into it, all of that. I get it. I know what they were doing on it. But NAIA, doing the right thing. I love what he did coming out with the letter and saying, hey, look, here are our options. Options being a great word. But make sure, because this is an opportunity to be a landmark decision. Get up there and make it count and incorporate some things and say, hey, look, this is why we're a better program and a better setup on there. And I think that if they really sit back and study it, they have a chance to knock it out of the park here.
Yeah, they can do something, still get that 5 years if they want the 5 years. Now, again, I've gone on record saying I'm not necessarily a fan of it. I still haven't been won over, Doug.
Yep.
I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that I don't necessarily think it. I'm not a fan yet. Okay, and some of you all are, and that's okay, and I'm not mad at you. Please don't be mad at me. But on a related note, last Friday, a federal judge in Colorado, Judge Charlotte, as she's affectionately known here on the channel, granted a class action injunction related to who can use a fifth year of eligibility in the NCAA Division I. I will pause and editorialize here and say, I don't think judges on a level in Colorado need to be making federal decisions. That's my editorial. Back to this. This injunction responds only to NCAA Division I's recent rule to change to allow a fifth year and who is eligible, man, I can't read tonight, to use this additional season for Division I. This injunction does not impact the NAI or student athletes' eligibility to compete in the NAI in 2026-2027. So, there we go. We appreciate your understanding and flexibility as we continue to determine the best path forward for the NAIA. Props to Dr. Carr, Doug, because he's doing the right thing for his team.
Look, and I love it. And that's what makes the NAIA so special, is that they do think about some things. Did they make the wrong decision by kicking the can and avoiding this year and doing it? They had a big opportunity to come out and set the tone for it here. Here, I hope they take advantage of it and do that.
So we're going to be watching that and watching that closely, and we appreciate appreciate you all watching this as we go along through there for learning more about this fifth year, this age-based eligibility. There we go. All right. One other thing in news, and Doug, again, off the field, really hate this, going to bring it up. The Protect College Sports Act, it's going to be pushed until after the recess in September. So there we go. Senators Cruz and Schmidt have made the statement, and they're saying we're disappointed that we could not get unanimous consent to finish this week, but we're going to try to get something happening in September. And reporting from Yahoo Sports, Ross Dellinger. Now I've got that graphic. Doug, forget that. I'm not going to put that graphic up there. He's just saying, look.
While you're not putting that graphic up, though, I think we discussed that Congress wasn't going to do anything on it, that they were going to kick it down the road. On a segment on here, we told them that I told you that I just didn't think they would do anything.
Now, you were right. I thought it was a small chance. I'll tell you what the other thing is, too, and I'm not going to go into all the amendments, but a portion of this where anytime you get a bill in Congress, Doug, I have to give this 30 seconds, and I'm tired of talking about politics.
Right.
But anytime you get a bill in Congress, somebody's going to try to add amendments, one side of the aisle or the other. Someone's going to try to add amendments. It slows things down, and often, and I've read the amendments now, Doug, and I don't think any of them are off the mark. I was concerned someone was going to add an amendment or try to tack on an amendment that said, hey, listen, by the way, I want to build a bridge in Minnesota along with this. That's not what these amendments are about, but it still slowed things down. And so there we go. There's my 30 seconds. Doug, I'll give you the last word on this because I'm talking football after this.
In September, when they do, that's when you want to watch it because these are last-minute things that slide into it. That's when you'll see it. You won't see it now because there's still too much time on there. So keep an eye on that. Don't think that there aren't going to be some earmarks placed in there.
Exactly right. Oh, man, those earmarks. Okay. Hey, folks, let's talk college football again. Did you know, Doug, that Midway, the Sprint football team, Midway, is joining the NAI? Well, did you know Calumet College of St. Joseph is also joining the NAIA in 2027. So a couple of Sprint football teams. We knew Midway was. I had heard Calumet College was. It was made official by the Mid-States Football League on their website. By the way, they have a new SID now in the Mid-States Football League. Shout out to Mitch Huppert, who is the new SID there, and I think he's going to do a great job. So now, Doug, there are going to be 98 teams in 2027 playing NAIA football.
We said we thought we'd get to 100 soon.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to happen. I definitely think it's going to happen. By the way, this leaves now for the not for the Mid-States. The Midwest Sprint Football League is going to be, after 26, 27 is going to be down to only two teams. And those are Quincy and Bellarmine. And Quincy's a D2 school, but has a sprint team. Bellarmine, I believe, is D3. They could join the collegiate sprint football team, but a lot of those schools are mainly back east. Excuse me. Mainly back east. There we go. I'm pointing the right direction. At least according to my camera, I'm pointing the right direction now. So that could make some trips because Quincy's in Illinois, Bellarmine's in Kentucky. So I don't know if they're going to do it or not. But props to Midway and Calumet College of St. Joseph, two new teams joining the NAIA in 2027. Oh, and also in 2027, Faulkner is moving to the Appalachian Athletic Conference. I think we mentioned this.
We did.
They're an independent this year. Faulkner is an independent this year. So that's interesting. And Andrew, of course, moving to Faulkner is in the Mid-South this year. Andrew is an independent this year. So in 2027, the AAC is going to have 8 teams. The Mid-South is going to have only 6.
6 teams is tough.
Those 6 teams are tough. And that's my take on this. Right now, as of August 9th, 2026, I would say, top to bottom, those 6 teams in the Mid-South might be a little tougher than top to bottom, those 8 teams in the AAC. That could change between now and 27 or 28. But so you still have a tough conference no matter what in the Mid-South. All right, Doug, I'll tell you what, we've gone a lot tonight. Let's look really quickly. We're going to go to DBs and kickers next Sunday night.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. I know, Robert, if you're still watching tonight, and I hope you are, I know that there's a cool DB in Concordia up there playing in Seward who is making the move to DB. However, he's not a returning DB, so he won't be on that list, but I probably will give him a shout-out next week anyway. All right, Doug, let's throw one more graphic on there really quickly. Fun visit with Kobe tonight, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun. Look, and if you're late getting on the show, go there and download his app, whether it's Android or iPhone. Go to the App Store and do that, and just follow it. It is called, and all I did was search D1 Rejects. That's not what the app is called on it, but that's what the fancy picture looks like. So search that. It's a free app to download, and there's just a wealth of information. Kobe's another guy going in the right direction.
Absolutely. What about those guys that are in their 50s, mid 50s especially, Doug? Man, I don't know about those broadcasters.
That was tough.
He was walking the line, man.
Yeah, he was.
He was walking the line. Wow. I had my finger on that remove window button off of StreamYard.
Just like that, hit the button. Now, I think it's great to be able, and that shows you what he said was what's true about a lot of us that cover these sports is not money makers. They're doing it for the love of the game. And these guys, I can tell you what the expense and the headache is of packing all that stuff up and taking it somewhere and then taking it down and getting back and then driving it. Yeah. So kudos to what they're doing.
Absolutely. It is. It's a lot of work. And yeah. Doug, we may one of these times, not on this show, well, we may do a special show or something like that. We talk about the disaster shows. Look, there are some shows where at a place I worked one time, and it's a large church. It's one of those mega church types, and there is a live broadcast that to this day, and I haven't worked there since 2014. I could walk back in and say, "Hey, you remember the bad show?"
And everybody will know it.
It was an entity, man. It was an entity all in itself. The bad show. So
look. I ran church sound for a long time for us. So I said there's a button up there that resets the entire board. It's now taped over so that nobody else can push that button in practice. Just tell you that. I don't do that anymore. So,
all right, Robert. I know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah,
Robert,
you.
Shout out to your defensive back. Making some noise already. Already a few picks and some big hits in the first week. Shout out to him. All right. We're going to be following him and the Bulldogs this year, so we'll keep that in mind. Is Kobe a millennial or Gen Z? Okay, I need to figure that out. I was going to say, I thought he was a millennial.
Yeah, he's a millennial.
He's 25 because I think both of my kids are 30 and 29. They're millennials. I could be wrong. That's a question we're going to look up for the next show, Tool Envy. We all know that Gen X is all that matters.
That's right. But who names these things? That's what anyway.
I don't know. Whoever named Gen X, man, I remember being a teenager, hearing I was Gen X, going, they hate us. And now I just wear it as a badge of honor.
I made it this far. That's right.
That's exactly right. Dave played with a guy at Midland back in 1987. So Dave's a borderline Gen X too. I think Dave's Gen X, who had already been in the military first. He was a starting defensive lineman, was 27. We called him Dad.
Nowadays, they'd have called him Unc. That seems to be
there you go. There you go.
Unc is what the older guys,
But see that story? Well, no, I was going to say that story wouldn't happen, but it could because military exemption.
That's correct.
That story could still happen. Yeah.
Military or what? Pregnancy.
Or pregnancy if he is pregnant. You're going to make me make a WNBA joke. I promise you're going to.
That's right.
It. So, all right. Here we go. Heard it on NVT. See, I can't read tonight, guys. MTV the first time back in the day. Yeah, Gen X it's a badge of honor. That's what it is. All right, let me get this graphic up because we're in the final moments of this hour. That was not the graphic I needed to get up. So let's.
You did a great job of getting that graphic on, though. I did
get it. Yes, I did get a graphic up there. I'm really proud of that. Let me see if I can get it up there. There we go. How about that one? All right. Week 0. Here's 9 more games. We'll get the rest of the week 0 in tonight and next week. Okay, first meeting ever between Texas College and Doane. Doane has the 10th most wins among active NAI football programs. I have a real stat, by the way, coming up tomorrow night on the forum, and we have to promote that. The forum tomorrow night at 8 p.m. is our huge NAIA promotional. We do it every single year. Doug's going to be part of the forum next week, so you don't want to miss out on that. Texas College
tomorrow.
It's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central. Texas College has gone downhill a little bit. 8-3 and 24, 2-9 last year. Can they turn things around as they go up there to Crete and play Doane? Fort Lauderdale on the road taking on Weber International. And Weber International won 4 straight season openers, defeated Stetson last year, D1 Stetson. They're on the schedule, by the way. They're Weber's second game this year. They're taking on the Eagles from Fort Lauderdale, and a big opportunity, I think, for the Warriors to get a win there. Doug, first meeting between Lawrence Tech and Valparaiso. Wow.
That's
Lawrence
a great
Tech
name.
From Michigan. Yeah, you got to love it.
Yeah.
The Blue Devils, 4 straight losses in season openers. Valparaiso, 7-3 versus the NAIA, and their losses have come against Indiana Wesleyan and St. Francis. Those 3 losses since 2001. Oh, there we go there. All right.
It's not going to be long before we're recapping all of these week 0 games that are already in the books. I know it. I love it.
I know it. I'm ready for that. St. Francis, Illinois, taking on Illinois State. 4th meeting between the two. The Redbirds have won all 3 prior to this one. Joe Curry, he's been on Midwest Sportsnet a time or two. Doug, heading into year number 15. So shout out to him. They had a good season last year. I know they want to push toward that playoff spot, but it's tough to go up against the FCS national runner-up, losing it to Montana in that title game last year. And tell you what, Montana, they play some good football out there. So this is a big game in the state of Illinois. I think the Redbirds, they're going to be at home. This one's going to be a tough one for the Fighting Saints, I have to tell you. All right, Georgetown College on the road at Butler. Georgetown won this game 14-7 back in 1980. Doug, I was 9 years old when that happened. And, Butler's won 7 since then. We'll just talk about that. Good season for Georgetown last year, though, 7-3 in his first season. And Butler won 5 straight against non-FCS teams.
Look, it's good to see another successful coach in his first year, and Coach Perrin there that had a great job, and looking to see what they're able to do with it.
All right, here we go. Let's move on along. St. Ambrose, 14th meeting with Culver Stockton. They're in the same conference now. St. Ambrose, 3rd season in the Hart, Doug. 2 wins they won in the Hart Conference in 24. They won 4 in conference play in 2025. Now, by the way, I'm talking about overall Hart Conference play here, North and South Division combined there. But how about Culver Stockton? Man, they've got some players at the next level. Andrew Rupsich, the offensive lineman, he was on the roster on that Super Bowl team that played with the Patriots last year in Super Bowl 60.
Look, some guys, right? What was that your buddy said? Some guy that
some
played?
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Shahan.
Yeah.
Shahan is a stunning example of the Dunning-Kruger effect, and we're just going to leave it right there. Kyle Dixon signed with the Patriots this year as well. So, he was a great receiver for the Wildcats last year. All right, here we go. Faulkner, an independent in 2026. They're going to be in AAC in 2027. Jake Russell, first game as a head coach at the Southeastern Fire. So, shout out to the Fire. They're 6-4 all-time against Faulkner. And we move on along here. This is the D2 NAI matchup. First meeting between 2 schools in Western Tennessee, Doug, that are separated by 46 miles. They've never played each other before. The Dragons of Lane picked 13th in the SIAC preseason poll. And by the way, Doug, there are 13 teams in the SAIC that play football. So the Dragons,
that's a lot of teams.
They're not favored very highly there in their own conference. Bethel, though, you're going to have to get a roster, you're going to have to get a program because they have a lot of new players on that roster for Coach Springer heading into year 2.
I think that I don't know which number strikes me as more odd, the 83 newcomers or picked dead last out of the 13 league. That's an interesting game there.
This is a big opportunity for both these schools.
That's right.
Seriously. I mean, if you're Lane, you get a chance to pick up a win and get some momentum going into conference play. If you're Bethel, you get a win against a D2 program and say, look, we're rocking and rolling now. Hey, shout out to Dallas Hall. I will tell you, Dallas Hall, friend of mine, Doug, he works with me on the GAC Sports Network, and he does a whole lot of everything, and I appreciate my buddy. He lets me get to be a part of feel like I'm part of the crew. He doesn't exile the talent. So, man, I enjoy Dallas. We've been a lot of places and broadcast a lot of sports together. So, shout out there to Dallas Hall.
Well, great job. There you go.
Stopping by, yeah.
You look at this game, 46 miles apart. You know that some of these 83 newcomers had an offer the other way, too. So, you just wonder if there's some of that. And, I mean, it's just, I promise you, they're from all of these schools around there, West Tennessee. Man, that's just a great storyline there.
It could absolutely. It could be something big. And obviously we'll recap this a little bit later on when we go along. Rio Grande and Defiance. Third meeting between the two. Well, both of them have been in the last 2 years. Defiance won in 25. Actually, one of them was in the last 2 years. Defiance won in 2025. In 1948.
That's a pretty good gap between games.
Mike Bartram. Oh, I like Coach Mike. Doug, I like Coach Mike. He's a good guy. I think you'll like him a lot. First game as head coach there for the Red Storm in Rio Grande. And Defiance plays 4 of its first 5 games at home, including this one. And it does not plays one more at home. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Yeah, they've got Rio Grande, Marion, on the road at Judson, Olivet Nazarene, and St. Xavier. That's tough. They don't play their second road game until October 10th. So Defiance, the Yellow Jackets, they need to take care of business early because you're not going to get an easier schedule as it gets later.
No, and look, the bad thing about having 4 of your first 5 at home is that means you've got 4 of your next 5 on the road, and travel is tough.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's. I think is that it. That's the last one of my slides. Doug, we'll give more slides next week. Our final Week 0 games, we'll talk about them next week, and starting to wrap up our broadcast tonight.
Right.
I will ask this, as Robert says he has an alarm set for tomorrow night already. Rock on, Robert. Rock on. Absolutely. And, yeah, you're exactly right, Leo. It was about the cross divisions there with those with those wins there. Going back, who was that? Those wins moving into the Hart Conference, St. Ambrose. Cross-division games. CJ had a great game versus Lane a few years ago. Well, good for I would think so. Listen, that's a tough conference. The SIAC is a tough conference. It is a predominantly HBCU conference, and you got some good football schools there. Lane, it's tough up in the rankings there, so there's a lot of tough schools there. D2 conference, by the way. And, I'll go. Yeah.
Okay.
I can overlook those. All right, Doug, what have we learned on the show tonight?
Look, that we're getting much closer. We're much closer. If you have not downloaded the app for the D1 Rejects, go by there and do that. They're putting a lot of great things out, and there's as much fun on these game day tailgate experiences in NAIA as are anywhere they go. And I'm excited that we're going to get to go to a couple of them this season. We still haven't picked our October 31st date though yet.
No, we haven't, but we have to get to Sioux City. And by the way, again, this is turning into a meetup. Just saying. This is turning into a meetup. And Tool Envy, you know what? That's probably right. I can't. I have no evidence to the contrary, Tool Envy. I can't debate this and bring up something that's not right.
We have learned that a shirt commemorating our first trip on the road is worth briskets and ribs. So
that is absolutely true.
I'm loving that.
Doug, I think you learned enough for both of us. I'll just take your learned tonight too.
I needed to learn
briskets and ribs.
Brisket and ribs.
Leo,
yeah.
I wasn't going to throw you out on this one, but I think that may be true. That's all right. Charles, man, you got to tune in tomorrow night. Dave's going to tune in for tomorrow night. Listen, I'm excited about that. NAIF ball, Kobe mentioned Corey. He's going to be on the show tomorrow night, as is Vince Delicio from Varsity Sports in Phoenix. And James Lex from the Waxahachie, the greater Dallas area, is going to be on the show as well. So that's all on the forum. That's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. We just crossed the hour mark about 3 minutes ago, Doug. Last thing then is we always talk about what's going on our respective channels. So I'll tell us about, I'll give you the chance to tell us about what's going on in 446 Sports.
Look, we're just continuing ramped up and getting ready for the season on there. You're going to start seeing a lot more high school football. We're starting with our Sooner Athletic Conference previews that'll come out next week as well. For those coaches that get back to us, I am a little disappointed in the Sooner Athletic Conference coverage on there from the conference, but that's a whole nother grandstand to get on. But you'll see a lot of that from us. You'll see the forum where we guarantee you'll find out who's going to win the national championship. I didn't say who we thought would. I said who will. You'll find that out and how it's all going to play out there. But no, it's full speed ahead football. I did start a segment tonight that'll air a little later tonight on there with a young man. it's stories beyond football, which we did one last week. But we started with a young man that gave his life to Christ back in high school and does a devotional with some kids. And he comes in now on Sunday. We recorded the first one tonight, and just talking a little bit about God for a while and what he's done in our lives. And we'll have that segment on Sunday nights as well.
Absolutely. That'll be great. I look forward to watching that too. Leo says tailgating wasn't a thing when he was a student. That's all right. They did have tailgates back then, though.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
They did actually have tailgates back then. So that's cool. Vince is a part-timer. You know what? I think, yeah, he comes on. He likes to be on the forum. I promise you, I watch his stuff though. He's doing sports year round to Envy. I do. I keep up with Vince all year long. So we got to call that that WNFC football game, that professional women's football game,
right,
a while back. So that was actually pretty cool. And Dave gets the final word on this one. We're all D1 rejects. Yeah, that is okay. All right. Doug may have discovered time travel. That's okay. I've learned a lot tonight. I look forward to tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun. For Midwest Sportsnet, hey, guys, I did a lot of KCAC soccer interviews this week. I'm just going to keep it at that. So if you like men's soccer, I'll be on the KCAC channel this week. I think Tuesday is when their media day comes out. That was a lot of fun, too. But it's back to football and volleyball on Midwest Sportsnet, and I am so looking forward to that, too. Don't forget, not this Thursday, but next Thursday night, we'll start college football this week, twice a week. We cover college football year-round, Doug. We do it all year-round here on our two channels, and it is a lot of fun. So we thank everyone for being a part of it. You guys are awesome. You're absolutely special. We have the best community in all of YouTube. You guys are great, and you make it worth doing. And so I'm so glad you're here. I could run through all the names. Shout out to all of them. One more last shout-out to Kobe Manzo. Great guest tonight.
He definitely was. And the knowledge that was gained from people that are not us the last 2 weeks, Clayton that was on with us last week and his channel that he does, and Kobe today, Kobe was right. There's a lot of good folks talking about NAI football and small college football and us. So
yeah, absolutely. We appreciate them and glad that they've been a part of the broadcast as well. So for Doug Gann, I'm Joey McWilliams. Thank you so much for watching tonight. We appreciate you all being here. Please be sure to tune in next week. And I think we officially have a meetup in the works. God bless you all. Have a great Sunday night. See you tomorrow.